If I could sit down with this 16-year-old version of myself, there's one brutal truth that I'd tell him, and honestly, that would have saved me years of wasted times, bad decisions, and chasing the wrong things. This isn't some motivational video, this is personal. I want to share the exact moment that my mindset shifted, the dumb decisions that came after, and the one thing I wish I had done differently because it would have changed everything. I genuinely think if I got this one thing right at the age of 16, I would have easily been a millionaire by the age of 21 and worth over 10 million by the age of 25. So if you're watching this and you're in high school and you have big dreams, big passions for success, this video is for you. This is the simple advice that I'd wish I had listened to when I was 16. So let's all go back to the origin story of how my whole business journey started. I took a trip to India when I was 15 years old. And on the trip, I was on the bus with one of my family friends, and he was reading a book, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. And throughout the whole trip, he was always reading. And I asked him, why are you reading? Like, you can't learn anything in books. It's such a waste of time. And he told me, Brandon, these aren't just fictional books like you're reading in high school. These are books where you can actually learn knowledge about self-improvement, about business, about how to improve yourself. I was like, wow, I didn't know about this. How can I get started? How can I learn some of this? And he said, you got to start by reading this book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. One day, we were in an Indian bookstore in Agra, which is basically where the Taj Mahal is. We turn around and we see that book right in front of us, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Keep in mind, this is an Indian bookstore where most of the books are Indian books. And so I buy the book there, I start reading on this trip, and it changed my life. Originally, I thought the only way to build wealth was through becoming a doctor or becoming a lawyer, pursuing some sort of degree and doing that. But then I learned there's all of these self-made millionaires and entrepreneurs out there who had a vision and thought big. There was a pro to this and there was a con to this. The pro was that it gave me the seed of believing in myself, that believe I could build something big. But I think the con of it is I was so hungry that I wanted it now. I wanted to start the billion-dollar business now without any skills, without any of the tools to do it. So when I got back from this India trip, I connected with my cousin who's very big on selling on Amazon. And he basically gave me a bunch of resources and tools to get started with an Amazon business where we would import a certain product from China and sell it fulfillment by Amazon. Keep in mind, this was 2016. So this was basically the best time to get into Amazon FBA. It isn't like now where it's basically impossible to make any money through it. And so for 3 months, I was listening to podcasts, I was taking online courses about Amazon FBA, I was contacting the sellers, I was designing the product that they would actually make for me, and I was ready to place the first order. The week we were gonna place the first order, someone came to my school. It was this guy, Richard Dehan from Founders Bootcamp. And he basically came in, made this whole big presentation and had this briefcase with 1,000 ones, opens the briefcase and money goes all over the floor. And he's like, if you guys wanna be rich, you need to pursue a $1 billion moonshot Silicon Valley startup, venture-backed startup idea. That's the only way to do it. And basically sold a bunch of impressionable 15, 16, 17-year-olds on the idea of starting a tech startup. So at that point, I said, I'm not doing this Amazon thing anymore because at the peak, I'd probably only make 10K a month from this product. I want to go pursue a $1 billion idea. And the idea I put together was Airbnb for self-storage. We called the company Trust Store. And the idea behind it was you could basically store your leftover boxes, your furniture, whatever you would generally put in a public storage, you would put it in someone else's home and pay them rent for it. Not a bad idea. There's actually a company, Neighbor.com, that's doing it right now. But who the hell am I with zero coding experience, zero startup experience, zero anything to actually get in there and start a company like this, where you do require a lot of venture funding, where you do require a lot of stacked skills, okay? This video is not to discourage people on starting a big idea, but the idea is something like that. It requires a lot of stacked skills. When you're starting, you want to start with one thing that requires one skill. So I went ahead, did this. I had some money I saved up and basically spent it all on a development agency, I think somewhere in Eastern Europe. They completely ripped us off. The app never worked, lost all of my money, and in the end was left with nothing. Didn't really gain too many skills. I mean, the number one skill I gained was I was going to college campuses and walking up to people and asking if they wanted to buy storage and basically store their box in my garage because I was the original storage, right? And that was good. That got me out of the water, but I wasn't intentional about building one skill. I was trying to be a jack of all trades. I was trying to be a CEO at 16, 17 years old. I was trying to sell here, trying to do app development here, trying to do app design here, trying to do marketing here. It was so pointless. And after that, made the same exact mistake right after. Joined another startup with my friends. We were building an app for frat parties. Same thing here. I was still not technical, and I was trying to build this $1 billion idea, and we just weren't the right team to do it. Now there's Partiful, which has done it extremely well, but they were the right team. They had experience, they had done this, they had the stacked skills and a team with stacked skill sets to get it done. And I'm not saying it's not impossible to start a $1 billion business at, under 20 years old. There's a bunch of AI whiz kids that are doing it right now. But this video is for the normal person like me and you that are trying to get our feet off the ground when we were younger. I kept thinking to myself, I needed to build the next big thing. I wanted to be the next Mark Zuckerberg. I wanted the next unicorn startup. I wanted to be the youngest 17-year-old that had done it. And I get it. It's a great vision. I would literally sit down on a chair every morning and just envision myself with this $1 billion company, right? But I wasn't taking the right steps to get there, and I didn't understand that there's steps to get up there, right? And if I had took the steps, I probably would have gotten there a lot faster rather than just trying to go to the end point and then it all fails and I lose all my money. So I kept thinking I needed this big thing, the next unicorn startup. But the truth was I didn't even have the basic skills down. I didn't know how to code. I didn't know how to sell. I didn't know how to market. I didn't know how to build product. I didn't know how to build demand. I was just chasing ideas without any tools, without any skills. And that's what set me back. Years of spinning my wheels, trying to be a jack of all trades, trying to do everything, when I could have just focused on one skill, focused on one thing and gone deep. And so that's the main advice here. If I could go back, here's what I would do differently. It's one thing, but there's 3 parts to it. Number 1, I would have gone back and went all in on Amazon FBA. Okay, I would have picked one skill and went deep into it. So if you are 16 and you're watching this, or you're 15 or 17 and you're in high school and you're watching this, it doesn't necessarily matter what the skill is that you pick. I repeat this. You could get really good at plumbing. You can get really good at lawn mowing, or you get really good at cold calling. You can get really good at selling online. You can get really good at editing and building videos. The point is that you have one skill, and from there you scale it. Let's say you get really good at fixing toilets. I'm not even kidding. There's millions of toilets in the US that people need a reliable person to fix. There's millions of homes that need a handyman, that need a reliable person to fix. Maybe you come from an area where, there's a lot of homes that are breaking, there's things like this, or there's lawns that need taken care of. You become the known trusted guy that can do that. Then you start hiring other people, training them on how to do it. And now you have a local business that's doing well for you at that age. And so the point is, at this early age, is you want to win. You don't want to build this $1 billion thing and just lose. In my opinion, I think it would be better to have built one profitable, high value skill and go all on after that. And I'm not saying if you could pick between a high value skill like selling online versus selling door to door, I would probably say go sell online, right? Because you can sell to more people like that. But the idea is, look around how many people they picked one thing from the age of 16. And the beauty of it is when you're that age, your brain is literally a sponge. You have the advantage over the 26-year-old, over the 36-year-old to learn something new. Your brain is so malleable. I wish I had done this when I was 16. I wish I went all in on that Amazon FBA business. Learn everything there is to know about Amazon. Because who knows, maybe by this age I would have fucking 100 products launched on Amazon and one of the biggest Amazon empires. Because the brain is so malleable at that age. That's where you see, here I live in Miami, there's all these 19-year-olds that just started getting so into crypto at 15, that got so into drop shipping at 15, and now they're here. That's all they know. That's all they think about. They didn't pay attention in school. They're paying attention on this. They knew how to build a TikTok page, and now they're doing it. It was such a huge breakthrough for me, just seeing these kids walk around in the street, and they just have this high value skill, and that's all they know, but they're world class at it. Learn how to use AI. Learn something like that. So I'd say the number one thing that I would change is really focus on one skill. Don't think as much about the company you're building, the money that's coming in, this or that. Think about, if I want to become the best at this thing, world class at this thing, what do? I could go work somewhere. Great. Go work somewhere and learn that skill. Start from the bottom up. I go try to take courses online. I could go find a mentor. I could do this, that. And that leads to my next point, is the second thing as part of this is when you're gaining that one skill, go find the mentor that knows how to do that and be a sponge. Ask your mentor a million questions. Have them hold you accountable. My cousin who was teaching me Amazon was one of the best at Amazon, is still one of the best at Amazon. If I had just focused and learned from him from the beginning, where would I be today if I had that mentor that I listened to? Rather than focusing on that person that's trying to sell me this crazy vision, unrealistic vision, focus on that crazy vision probably would have happened by now if I just focused on that one skill and I had the right mentor. And the last piece of advice I would give when it comes to the big thing I would change is document your process. Here we are at Adhesive Media, done over $18 million of influencer deals. I only started documenting this process about a month ago. Where's the first $17 million of deals? Where was it when I was in the attic in the garage of my parents' house with a bunch of boxes around me and storage and all this, and I put a desk in there and there was one light in there and I was building the business? There's no picture of it anywhere. I didn't take pictures back then. I thought it was cringy. I didn't write about it. I thought it was cringy. I had this fear of judgment, right? That fear of judgment kills you. Get that shit out of your head. Post what you're doing online. Build in public. Have people along with you in the journey. Look at Iman Gaji's YouTube. People can see what he was doing from fucking 15 years old until now, where he's worth over 9 figures. And be okay with how long it takes. That's the last thing here. So you build in public, and yeah, it could be embarrassing. Yeah, your friends make fun of you. They're gonna be laughing when you're fucking a millionaire before the age of 21. Just the last thing I would remember, I wish I could tell myself when I was 16, is play the long game. You have time, right? So take time to learn that skill. And realistically, you'll get the success faster than you think if you have a long time horizon. So don't think, hey, I need to make $1 million this year. Think about, how can I get there in 5 or 10 years? And you never know, maybe it comes to you in 3 or 4 years, because you are so good at that skill. You are in such high demand, and there's so much that you could do with it. So with that said, if you're watching this video, I really pray, like, literally sit down and think about what's the one skill that you want to get into, and do not change it. Do not change it. Focus on one thing for a very, very long time. One skill for a very long time. And there's going to be so many opportunities that come with it. You might start by working somewhere. Then you might start, giving this service to people. Then you might start an agency with it. You might start a software around the skill. There's so much you could probably do around this skill. You might sell your knowledge around this skill. So pick the skill, get the mentor you could look up to, and be a sponge and build in public. And throughout this whole thing, stay consistent. Stay consistent with that skill. With that said, if you got value out of this video, as mentioned at the beginning, I don't sell any books. I don't sell any courses. So it means the world to me if you could subscribe to this video. We're going to be posting videos like this every week. And thanks so much for watching.